Last Saturday's win at Brentford saw Blues record back-to-back victories for the first time this season and further cement their place in the Championship's top six. And although Gary Rowett was clearly delighted with the result, there was also plenty to be pleased with in terms of performance.
I think away from home, to come under pressure for periods of the game and to navigate that and turn it into 3 points, I think is an excellent skill to have. Having watched the game back again, I'm always mindful after the game. I was very disappointed. It wasn't quite that bad after the game. We had some good spells ourselves, just not quite enough. And again, perhaps just didn't keep the ball enough in the right areas to give ourselves a chance to go and maybe get the third goal. But these are all difficult places to go to, and we're to keep picking the results up and to get us into fourth. Sometimes you'll take not playing as well as you'd like to. You take being a little disappointed, but coming away with a point, because at the end of the day, at any stage of the season, that's the priority.
Another positive from last weekend was the emergence of young fullback Josh Cogley, who acquitted himself well on his league debut.
I think it gives us options when Specs is back that we at least know. I mean, it's only one game, so what you can't do is you can't suddenly say that that Josh Cogley's in any way the finished article. I'm sure that over the next couple of games, if he starts those games, we'll learn a lot more about him, and hopefully after the period that he gets an opportunity, if Jonathan Spector comes back, then we'll learn whether Josh can compete for that right back spot long term, and that's what I think is always interesting, to give a young player that chance, because some players do actually better than you think you will. Occasionally a player won't handle it as well as you perhaps think they might as well. So, but it's a good opportunity for him, and I think after the Brentford game, at least we know that he can certainly step up to the plate. And I thought at times he took it in his stride. I think that you saw the first game he had against Oxford early in the season, and he had a couple of nervous moments that you wondered how he'd handle that if he got the opportunity again. I think he's learned from it. He's an intelligent lad, and we hope that his performances will continue to improve in what's a really, really terrific opportunity for him.
Cogley is the latest player to make the step up from the under-23s, something that the manager's been working hard to implement during his time at the club.
I think we've had that, that pathway's been quite a consistent pathway for us, from under-18s football to under-23s to the first team. It's something we've worked on hard to improve, and it's something that I think that any player in the under-23s should be mindful of the fact they're never that far away from the first team if they perform consistently. We have a lot of the 23s will constantly dip in and out of first team training, so they're never far away, and a couple of injuries and a couple of them might end up being on the bench or in the matchday squad. So I don't think that Josh playing has necessarily made that any clearer for them, but I think it's just another player that's had an opportunity that, of course, if you're a player in our academy, in our club, a young player, that they'll always look and think, I think I'll get opportunities here if I do well enough, which I don't think that many other Championship clubs can say the same nowadays. So, we're quite pleased with that, and I think that's the way it should be.
Barnsley are the visitors this weekend, and after an impressive start, the Tykes arrive at St Andrews during a bad run of form, picking up just one win in their last 11 games. But Rowett isn't taking anything for granted.
Well, firstly, we don't read too much into form. I don't really look at the opponent's form necessarily, because I don't think that's ever a reflection of how they're going to turn up and start the game and play. So we've looked at what they do. They started the season fantastically well, great energy, great spirit amongst them, having just got promoted, which I think you always find those early games and early months. You see a team on the up. Usually with a team that's just come up, it's often that navigating that period where you perhaps drop away from those levels. I mean, that's natural in the Championship. Big teams that have been in the division a long time will do exactly the same, and it's how you then react to that. So we don't want to be the team that they beat to get them on the way to a new run or to end in the bad run that they're on. So Paul's done a good job, very good team, and we'll be mindful of lots of things that they can hurt us with.
Last season, Blues picked up a reputation for struggling at home against opposition below them in the league. But Rowett is pleased that this term his side are showing much more consistency in their performances against all levels of opposition.
Yeah, I mean, you look at home, you look at our results against all the teams this season. You know, there's only Wolves that have beat us at home, and that was after a very, very strong first half as well. So I think that regardless of what's happened in any of the games, we've been pretty consistent in terms of our results and in terms of scoring enough goals to win whichever game we're in. So we'll hopefully continue to do that. Like I said, I don't think we've got really an Achilles heel this year in terms of people last year would say would struggle against those teams. I think we have extra motivation against the bigger teams just because that's the nature of those games. But I think what we've also done this year is we've added a little bit of extra mental resilience to get ourselves ready for all the games, you know, and the players know what they need to do. We'll go over it all again with a fine-tooth comb today, and hopefully they'll be ready for Barnsley tomorrow. But we will also warn them that Barnsley are a good team. You know, they've got threats up front, they've got good players. Sam Winnell was a player we had on loan at Burton. You know, he's a goal scorer. I think he's turned into a little bit of a talisman for them, and they've got a number of other players that we viewed and we like. So you know, we'll be mindful of that. But we're at home. We've got a good run. We're on a good run. You know, we'll concentrate on what we do mainly, and that will be the most important focus.